Joining us now to break down these latest developments, trial attorney and criminal lawyer Hunter Shkolnik. Sir, let me ask you about what's going on. We're saying it's taken a long time. I don't know if that strikes you as a long time. We do understand that these events that she's accused of playing a role in happened many years ago. And that the testimony is from people from the things that happened to them many years ago. Maybe that's why the jury is asking for more information on memory. But still, why is it taking so long?
Well, to be very candid, and first of all, thank you for having me here. To be candid, this is not a long time.
Okay.
I'm sitting on with a jury that's been deliberating longer than this, and they've taken the break over Christmas. I don't see anything wrong with a week plus. You have to realize with the holiday and the weekends, it's really not that much time. These are complicated issues, and the jury have a lot to look at. And remember, this is a very complicated case. The law is not straightforward. And like you said, this is taking a jury back so many years, and they have to analyze the memories and the opinions and the testimony of these witnesses against the way the witnesses actually presented it in the courtroom, and it takes time.
In terms of some of the additional information that they've been asking for, does that give you any clues as to the direction that the jury may be going, given that they have reportedly said they've made some progress? I know one of the things they talked about on Monday, they wanted additional information about the definition of enticement, and also they were questioning some charges related to travel and things like that.
Well, I think they're working their way through the charge, which from any prosecutor standpoint, you want them to be following the charge because that is the path to conviction. From the defense side, they have now asked for some testimony that I think the defense is happy that they're looking at. The testimony of the memory witnesses and the like. So the jury is doing this in a methodical way. And this is what both sides want, especially the defendant, though. They want them looking at those issues that they highlight in their summation and they brought out in their defense. And I think this is a hardworking jury.
What strikes you about this case that may determine which way it goes?
You know, everyone talks about how jurors, don't see the whole picture. I honestly believe in the jury system. I think this is a case that cries out for justice. It's a very difficult case when a prosecution brings it so many years after it happened. The memories of these women and the events, there is always the concern of whether or not there's an accurate recollection. But with the type of events we're talking about here, these women have compelling stories, and it is hard for the defendant in a case like this when you're being accused. And I think jurors have a leaning towards the victims and such horrific conduct that we're talking about here.
Yeah, if she's convicted on all 6 counts, she faces up to 70 years in prison. Do you expect that she'll be found guilty, or will she be let off on all of the counts, or are there some specifically that you think the jury will tend more toward finding her guilty of than others?
Well, I think that the strongest case is that she was so complicit in facilitating these events. The issue of whether or not she participated physically or the actor in it, but still, either way, she was an important cog. She was a facilitator in the horrific events for these young women. She's going to have a hard time, very hard time with the jury at the end of the day with these types of claims.
However, it sounds like what you're saying, this is a natural process, because if there's a murder, juries don't have to be that clever to figure out somebody's dead, this happened somehow, let's look at the arguments. But trafficking, how do you define that? Enticement, how do you define that? And this could be years in prison, right. The difference. So I guess what you're saying is don't be surprised, it's actually is a reasonable pace that we're going at.
Oh, absolutely. If this wasn't the holiday week, no one would be saying, oh, my God, is this taking so long? What we're seeing here is we have Christmas, we have New Year's, people want to be with their families. And more importantly, we have Omicron that's scaring everybody? Do we end up with a mistrial and a do it again? If this was not those three factors, we probably wouldn't be talking about the time that this jury is taking. This is perfectly reasonable, and they're doing their job under very, very difficult situations, not being with their families and the risk of infections.
All right, Hunter Shkolnik. Did I say your last name correctly?
You said it perfectly. Most
Shkolnik.
people don't.
Okay, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate you breaking it down for us.
Just don't ask me to
Thank you
spell
so
it.
much.
Yeah.